going. And then I click the encoder on, and there is that. And I'll throw your theme in for a sec, and then... And there you go.
Oh, hello and welcome to the Retro Detroit Nerdfighters podcast. My name is Ian the Well Informed. I'm here with Dave the Geek and Phil the Phil Badger.
I was going to rename myself Dave the Drafted since you asked me to hang out with this one. So yeah.
I mean, we can't be together, but we can always be here in spirit. But yeah, let's just, for lack of a better term, let's just jump into it. So, Dave, you like posting, what's it called? Memes, or not memes, but things about politics that affect, like, Michigan, correct?
I don't know that I would say I like to. I kind of on some level feel like I have to, just because I mean it's a huge topic right now, and I'm getting done with people. I really
And to your point, you've always said that you don't like people, and
I've always said I love persons. I hate people. And I think, you know, the quote from Men in Black is the best, where like we both know that people in groups are just scared herds of animals, and that's literally what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, the fear. The fear is kind of a liar, though.
I mean, fear makes people do dumb things. It's yeah.
But yeah, what I wanted to have you here is because we're focusing so much on fear and not like the actual, like the heroes, the essential workers. And I to be honest, I don't know a lot about like the nurses or the
we've actually we've got one. There is a nurse that hangs out with us. We do. I mean, you know that I'm kind of a social creature, and so this is driving me batshit crazy being trapped at home. And so every couple nights we do a Zoom hangout, have a couple drink chats among some friends. And one of those people is a frontline nurse who has been in a COVID ward since this started. I try to keep her a little bit anonymous. I won't even say the hospital she's at, just because, I mean, they are under a very strict gag order not to talk to anybody, which is the main reason she hasn't been on our show. Just because, I mean, her stories and her points of view have been insanely eye-opening as to what's going on. And you know, I guess one of the things that I want to make sure people understand is, you know, from her point of view, just because she's only bagging 6 to 8 bodies a day instead of 3 to 4 times that, it doesn't mean that things are great. It just means that things are getting better, which is a good sign. But it does not mean that we should all be running around playing outside and going to 30,000 people hockey and sports events and all that kind of crap. But yeah, I guess, yeah.
That's still heartbreaking.
It's not good. And I mean, and that's the thing that, you know, people are like, oh, well, you know, New York City has 500 people die every day. Yeah, they do. So when you add an additional 600 people onto that every day from another new cause, that's a problem.
Yeah. I'm not keeping up with it. It's public information. I went to U of D Mercy, and I'd say about a good amount of my friends list are nurses and doctors because of a certain group I was in. So I do have a network of people that I get info from on that end. But the thing I wanted to talk about that's more associated with this podcast is I've done a lot of research, and as you know, about autism.
Yep.
And what I've come to find out, like through panels, through PenguinCon and things like that, is that if I had to guess, and this is just a theory based off the information I have, that there's at least one person with autism that works in a retail position. I want to expand on that to a level.
You mean like per store or per location or something like that?
Per location.
I don't know that I would disagree with that at all. I mean, granted, I mean, yeah, that's anecdotal evidence, but I mean, just given, I mean, you look at the factors. I mean, people in that position tend to have a problem finding mainstream jobs, as it were, and I'll put that in air quotes, mainstream jobs, or other gigs, and a lot of those companies do provide a way in the door into a job. So no, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me in the least that were the case.
And I mean, from a person that's on the inside looking out, this does surprise me. I mean, not from a data perspective, but from a, should I say, a discrimination aspect, because it's like, how do these people find these? How do people with autism find these jobs and are able to keep them? I would say like retail or things like that are very hard to keep because you have to deal with people and you have to talk with people. And
for many of the positions, yeah. And I mean, and especially in retail, you deal with a lot of the issue of a flexible work schedule, when many people that are somewhere on the spectrum kind of require and need a much more structured flow to their lives and that kind of stuff, and so that can present another challenge. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, within this pandemic, I would say from an insider looking out, that they're one group that have been the heroes of this pandemic because they've been on the front lines helping people out. And
oh, for sure. And I mean, and honestly, realistically, I guess you try to find a silver lining in anything. One of the benefits of the pandemic going on is that it has cut down on the social interaction requirements of positions like that.
Yeah, we should we should do whatever we can to celebrate. There should be a message to inform and spread this out.
Sure.
I normally don't.
I mean, if only someone had a podcast that was talking about things like this. If only.
if only we. Hey, Amy, to my point, if only, yeah. And there is someone who has that, but to your point, there needs to be half a dozen on this.
Oh, for sure.
On this network, to be honest, just to be able to, spread this out. Yeah, so if only. But yeah, that's kind of the point that I want to, as someone who has autism, high functioning, just to send a message. Thank you for being essential. But
yeah, I mean,
that's all I wanted to get at. That.
No, it's true. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, at the end of this, one of the things that I hope people remember is that it wasn't celebrities, it wasn't athletes, it wasn't singers, it wasn't any of those people who kept this country moving. It was the retail workers. It was the restaurants that stayed open for carry-out service and that kind of stuff. It was, the stock people at Costco and Walmart and Meijer and all that stuff. I mean, it's funny. I mean, you look at all the debate about, they're flipping burgers. They don't deserve $15 an hour. Yeah, guess who just kept your ass, alive during the past, 45, 60 odd days. So yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hopefully it's opening some people's eyes, but I mean, and then getting back to the thing with the protests in Lansing and all that stuff. My biggest issue with all of that is, seriously, I don't care if somebody wants to volunteer to go be a guinea pig. I have all along said I'll be waiting for Outside 2.0. when they say that it's all clear and things are good to go, I'm not going to be rushing outside. I will let a round of people go out and figure out if it's actually safe to be there and be the canary in the coal mine for me. The issue that I have is that they are not volunteering themselves to go out. They are basically demanding that other people volunteer themselves to go out. You look at the signs that people are holding up at those protests, like "I need a haircut," or "I want to go out to eat." Okay, well now you're not you're demanding that somebody open up their hair salon and bring their stylists and those people in. You're demanding that a restaurant open up, and so you're not making a decision for yourself. You're attempting to make a decision for somebody else, and that's my problem. Is people always seem to forget that your rights end where they intersect with those of others, and that's a key point that I think a lot of people have been missing.
I mean, like, it's funny, like, to your point, I saw on Facebook, a friend of mine posted that he was interested in going to an event in Grand Rapids to, like, protest or something, and then I get a notification later that says an event in Grand Rapids has been canceled through Facebook.
Well, and I mean, that's real. I mean, I think I'll be honest, my favorite kinds of people, and I say favorite heavily laden with sarcasm, are the ones that are holding signs that say, like, the virus is a lie and COVID doesn't exist and this is all overblown, while they're standing there wearing face masks or like full blown hazmat level PPE. Yeah, the hypocrisy is strong, and I'm just loving it.
The only
Yeah.
thing missing from them is the bleach cocktail.
Oh, yeah. And that's but those of us that are making fun of Trump, people should stop complaining about. We're just being sarcastic. I mean, if that excuse works for him, it should work for everybody, right?
And I've always been allergic to Lysol, so no problems there.
I think we're all allergic to drinking it. I think but no, and so actually, one of the things you'd mentioned about before we hopped on that I know you wanted to touch on was PenguinCon, and because when it comes to events being canceled and that kind of stuff, another area that I am absolutely losing my mind over is, I mean, we've usually been to, here we are May 2nd, we've usually been to 6 or 7 cons by now at this point in time in the year. And, we'd be gearing up for, Motor City Comic Con, which was supposed to be 2 weeks from now. And then Cherry Capital Comic Con up in Traverse City, which was the week after. And Motor City has been canceled, or at least they haven't announced any other dates or anything yet. And Capital City was postponed until Halloween weekend, which I think is going to be interesting. But a lot of the cons this year have been canceled, so I haven't had that social outlet. I mean, from going to cons all the time, I mean, there are people that I only see at those cons, and they're that con friend, con family thing is real, which is another thing we've been doing with these Zoom chats is letting everybody get together like this and hang out. But yeah, so PenguinCon was supposed to be last weekend, and that was one of the other ones that kind of fell victim to this whole pandemic and it in person got canceled, but they're the first one that I've participated in that tried to keep it going by going exclusively virtual, which was interesting. I mean, it was definitely a different feel from the standpoint of we weren't all together. Obviously we didn't, have a hotel room party packed with 1,000 people in it, and all that stuff going on. But I mean, it was still, the presentations were going on and events were still happening. And it was really, really interesting. I mean, I hope that other cons take that step, whether it's either in lieu of or in addition to what they have going on with normal programming, because it was a good thing. I liked it.
I mean, to your point, I see that I see conventions like, say, E3 or Youmacon, like, getting canceled this year. I don't see a con that has a physical building this year. That's my guess on all this.
especially the bigger ones. Like, I'm curious, like one of the last ones of the year that we go to is usually in September, and it's the Monroe Comic Con. And it is I mean, it's a smaller con, 1,000, 1,500 people. But the challenge that I think cons are really going to face is not only, I mean, they have problems from multiple angles now. One of them is, okay, like let's take Motor City as an example. How quickly are you going to get 70,000 people ready to hop back and cram into a big giant warehouse together, with all of this stuff that's gone on and what we've learned? But I think their biggest challenge, or their bigger challenge, really is going to be the major draw at those events tend to be the celebrities. And, how quickly are they going to be willing to show up in a warehouse crammed with 70, 80, 100, 200,000 people, and throw their arm around somebody to take a selfie and spend all day shaking hands and all that kind of stuff. And I think that alone is going to be a significant challenge for cons, because I think that's going to take longer than damn near anything else to happen.
Yeah, the big stars are just, to your point, they're going to be scared to come out and
I mean, I don't even
shake
know that
people's hands.
I don't even know that I would say scared. I would just say cautious. Because
Cautious.
because I mean, it's like I've always said, don't and this this is my whole point with, I'll wait for Outside 2.0. Don't live your life in fear, but there's probably no real good reason to juggle chainsaws either.
Yeah. You remember that you've watched Scrubs, right?
I'm sorry?
You've watched Scrubs before, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to think of the guy. I think his name on the show is Ted, right?
Oh, it's
The one with the bald spot. That
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he from what one of our friends posted that he passed away.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, we see like star talent passing, and
well, and it's hit, and it doesn't make a lot of the national news, but I mean, we've seen a lot of people in the Detroit and Metro Detroit area that have passed from this. We've lost at least one, possibly two. One from Detroit. We've lost a lot, quite a few entertainers we've lost. I mean, it boggles my mind when people don't think this is a serious thing, and don't get what this really means. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I could fill your entire hour with my ranting, but
and I wouldn't mind, but we still have a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, but no, like, but yeah, that's all I've got about that. Phil, I'm curious, what's behind you? Is it
for all those people who
who
can't see it while listening to the podcast? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, hey, I'm going to go ahead and duck off. I'm doing a couple errands. I'm trying to get my pool ungreen, because thanks, rain. So I will be back in just a few.
Thanks. All right. So what's behind you?
That is the World Serpent, who is one of the triggers for Ragnarok.
Oh, okay. It's not Snake Eater from Metal Gear Solid.
No, it's the snake.
All right.
Yeah, Jormungandr, I believe, bites Thor at the end of Ragnarok, and he goes 9 steps before he dies. I'm not up on my Norse mythology like I was when I was playing God of War a couple of years back. So
I'm neither here nor there. Norse mythology. Thank you.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, no, I was just a little curious on that. But speaking of what's it called? People being quote unquote terrorists at our state's capital, Michigan. Have you seen Streets of Rage 4?
Yeah. I've saw a couple of reviews of it. That looks good. I might actually buy it. It's up on. It's up for pre-order. A physical copy is up for pre-order on limited run games right now. I think I'm gonna probably order that. I like to get physical games whenever I can, so I might actually order that.
I probably and I have a little bit of an update. So I've stopped kind of playing with Mario Maker right now. I have enough content to make a level, but I just need to watch gameplay and come up with ideas to make it.
You're gonna make like a 30-minute level, or
no?
that's scary.
I'm gonna make like a 250-second level out of 300 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Make something, probably make it like a puzzle, or just make it generally fun.
Right. Okay. But you're taking a break from that, so.
I need to work on direction. I have the elements. I just need to. I want it to be really good. I want to.
Got to plot them out and.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to take some time. So now I'm on to Breath of the Wild again, and then.
So are you picking up where you left off, or are you starting over?
I am sort of picking up where I left off. I don't remember where I left off, so
okay.
I'm working on getting armor and stuff like that, and then we'll eventually finish it. Then eventually I probably will get Streets of Rage 4 because I, as you know, love beat 'em up games like River City Girls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember playing Streets of Rage back in the day. Never really were my favorites, but I remember liking them, and I might give them another try here. And before Streets of Rage 4 comes out, or I'm able to get my hands on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's on Switch. I'll definitely pick it up. Have fun with it. I mean, from gameplay that I've seen, there are a lot of characters to unlock. But
I think you start with 2, and then I think you can unlock 3 more as you go, from my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, there's characters that come back like Alex and others. But yeah, looks really fun. Looks
like they put a lot of work into it and made it look really good.
And it's like they knew that there were going to be protests. That's why they brought it out now.
kind of a sneak it out the door kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic from when I look at it, but no. Speaking of rage and things like that, what do you think about our governor changing the date to May 28th?
I'm not even convinced that's going to be long enough. It might. I don't see that being the end of it by any stretch. I've been working from home now for about a month and a half, and I believe things are getting better, but it's going to be a while before we're out of the woods. And it's just one of those things that help everybody out. I think everyone's just got to do their part. Yeah, my hair's getting shaggier by the day, but a price to pay for small price to pay for doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know this is a little TMI, but took a shower this morning. But by the time the end of the day happens, I look like Mr. Satan from Dragon Ball Z.
Okay,
With
I
my
don't know.
hair, so it's like,
Yeah, I don't know who that is. So
I'll give you pictures.
okay. Yeah,
No.
I look like a '90s grunge rocker now with my hair. If I were to put my hair down over my eyes, so
Yes,
that
you do.
yeah. And I can't see anything right now when I have my hair down like this.
Hey,
Okay, that's better.
hey, let's see if Dave is on. What do you think of what do you think about Fraggle Rock coming back, Dave?
Fraggle Rock?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about that. I
Yeah.
remember Fraggle Rock used to be my jam back in the day.
I forget what streaming service is bringing it back, but yeah, Fraggle Rock is coming back.
Huh. I remember seeing something about that too. Is that coming back on Apple TV or Apple TV Plus or whatever it is?
Not sure. Give me
or Hulu or HBO or I can't keep
Let me
track of all
check.
these streaming services now.
No one can. I'm looking it up right now. But we'll see.
Well, if anyone knows, it's Google.
Yes, it says it will. New episodes will debut Tuesdays on Apple TV. So,
okay.
So it is Apple TV. You got it right.
Oh, good. There it is.
I mean, I'm not going. I may. It's tempting, but I've seen a few more shows that are like, hey, if I were to get into another streaming service, it would probably be what's it called? The Amazon service at this point, because they seem to have quite a few that are more tailored toward me. So,
right.
Yeah. But Fraggle Rock is tempting.
Well, it looks like it's only like 3 to 5 minute episodes now, so I guess but maybe they can put a good amount of quality into 5 minutes, and it won't really matter.
Yeah, who knows? It'd be fun to see like puppets and things like that, and to see that show come back. And there are a lot of shows like that, maybe we could get into it. What show would you like to see come back?
Not really come back. I don't know so much as come back as I want to see what would have happened in season 7. But Lost, I would like to see what would have happened. Have you watched Lost before I go ahead and spoil the ending?
I surprisingly enough, I've watched some of Lost. I've seen a couple episodes from like every season, and I have seen the ending, which is interesting to say the least.
Well, then, if you've seen the ending, by the way, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Lost, probably jump ahead in the podcast about 2 to 3 minutes. But you'll remember Hurley ended up being in charge of the mysterious island. And I thought that was a really cool concept. And I thought, I want to see what a Hurley run island would be like. I think, give it a couple years. Let's have a season 7 on that. And then, let's let's see how the island is different under Hurley.
I would agree with that. And I honestly don't remember all the characters' names. So refresh me. What does Hurley look like? I'm trying to match that with that.
Hurley was the big guy who
Okay.
he's the big guy with the curly hair.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah,
I would.
Everybody loved Hurley.
Yeah, I would have liked to. Yeah, I would have liked to as well. I'd like to see a season 7, but one show that I wouldn't have that wasn't ended properly was the last season of Scrubs.
I never watched Scrubs, so I had the last season, that was when they moved to a different network, right?
Yeah, and it was like the focal point with Scrubs was that and no spoilers here, the main focal point for Scrubs was JD, and then
That
it was his
and JD was the character that Zach Braff played.
Exactly.
Okay.
He was the main focal point, but then it was his interpretation of everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
How he saw things, how he saw every character.
Right.
But then when the new network came in, it was the main focal point was everyone else looking at this new scrub. So it's like they changed the focal point, and so it was nowhere near as good as the first 8.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard good things about it, just never had a chance to check it out. So,
and if you want a good starting point, start season 1, or an even better starting point is season 3.
okay.
That's where I was like, that's the season when each character kind of were very fleshed out. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorites was Turk, the best friend of JD. He was
Right.
I would say 500% more fleshed out than previous seasons. He's kind of amazing in that.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that on Netflix at all, or Hulu, or which streaming service is that on?
I will check. Give me a moment. No, I think it's on Netflix.
Okay.
I think it's on Netflix, and if it's not on a streaming service, I'm not one to promote YouTube, but there is YouTube.
Kind of just somebody uploaded a bunch of episodes.
Yeah, probably somebody did. But
So those could very well be
no,
gone if YouTube listens to this and decides to take them down.
they could take them down, but I am one who knows people. It will stay back.
Okay.
If a if it gets taken down, two more will take its place.
Kind of like the Hydra.
Yes, exactly. Or the snake behind you.
Oh, yes, yes.
But I think, what else do we have on our list? You wanted to talk about a game called Infinite.
BioShock Infinite, actually. And quarantine does strange things to people, and I'm probably, the way things are going, probably gonna buy it for the fourth time here in just about a month here when it comes to Switch.
Hey, my only question is, I've never played the games, but I have seen like AMVs of it. One of my favorites being from Brittle Floss, but he he did an original song for BioShock Infinite where he talks about rapture. So
I think I remember that. I remember it being a thing, but I don't remember how it goes right now.
oh,
I'm gonna have to look
do
that
you
up
want me?
here.
Won't you come on down to the best little town in the bottom of the deep blue sea? That's one line, but uh, I don't want to sing here, but it is tempting. But no, like getting BioShock Infinite for a fourth time. What has attracted you to this game? Like the
Well,
crafting or the?
I think the story is just incredible. One of my favorite video game stories ever. And and it's fun to play. Not usually much for first person shooters, but this one's a good one in my opinion. um a lot of mind bending twists, and it's just, I don't know, I've always had a lot of fun with the BioShock series, and supposedly there is a new one in the works now. um and anxious to see that, but it's probably not going to be here till PlayStation 5. But I just want more BioShock in my life.
I mean, it is. It's hard to get into a game with like that because actually, here's a great question for both of us. Like, is this game a lot like something I've played before? And if it is, do you have an example of a game that's
Um,
like this?
well, gameplay wise, it's not too much different than, say, Call of Duty, first person shooters, with a little bit of magic powers thrown in. Um, so, maybe Call of Duty with a little bit of Doom mixed in. As far as the story, I can't, without spoiling it, I can't really come up with anything to compare it to right now. Um,
So unique story. Have you?
it's got a
I don't
lot
think
of
I've.
quantum elements to it, and and you can tell that BioShock and BioShock Infinite kind of form a loop, if you will, a Mobius strip that kind of, they're both tied together and one can't happen without the other. It's just, it's a fun little thought experiment, way to look at things, and I'm still looking forward to the next one. Whenever that happens to be, I'll be there.
Yeah. Have you? I don't think I've ever asked you. Have you ever played Earthbound?
I have not. I attempted to play it when it came to Wii U, and I just could not get into it.
And that game is, when this whole pandemic ends, sometime we just need to go over to and just play it, because this game, it's not like other games. It's meant to just be taken in and just be an experience. And that's, I will shout from the rooftop that this is one of my top 10 games of all time. It's that good. But no, it's just like, I honestly couldn't get into it until a little bit after chapter 2, after the second big boss. And then I was like, okay, I'm totally hooked, just because.
So you're saying I need to give it another chance?
As if I haven't given you enough games where you've gone back and played it because of me.
Well, one of these days I'm going to finish Breath of the Wild too.
Same
I've been taking a break. Yeah, I've been taking a break from that to play the Final Fantasy VII remake, which is amazing.
I can't blame you. Final Fantasy VII is one of those games where is another game I need to play, but I need a new computer in order to take on the graphics and things like that.
You played the original Final Fantasy VII, correct? Oh.
I've watched Mission Abridged for Team 4-Star, but I've never played the game. As one of the Final Fantasies that I've wanted to play, and there's only 3 Final Fantasy games that I will touch. One of them being Final Fantasy 3 with Kafka, this one, and then possibly Final Fantasy 9. Those are the only 3 I'll touch. But
the rest of them don't do much for you? Or?
The rest of them, I can't care.
Okay.
I mean, and I'll tell a little bit of a Final Fantasy story. When I was a kid, like when I was young, the first Final Fantasy came out. I put it into my NES at the time. I press new game, and then I see 4 characters, and I'm like, and I was borrowing this from a friend of mine. I get to that screen, and I'm like, I immediately turn it back off, and I say, I'm never going to play this game. I'm going to mess up. There's no way I'm going to even touch the final. If it becomes a series, I'm never touching it. And it was because of that game I kind of, for a time, stopped playing RPGs and even games. I did get back into it through other games, but that was the game that kind of stopped me for a while. So.
I'm sorry Final Fantasy hurt you so much. It was actually one of my favorites on the NES back in the day. Now that I think about it, probably that might be one of the closer analogs to the BioShock story, just in terms of story and the way it creates kind of a Mobius strip. And yeah, and well,
I
that's
know, but I did come back. Um, I it's on the NES Classic that I have, so I did return back to it and be like, okay, if I play this game, I'm taking a walkthrough and I'm
mhm.
seeing how it'll play, and I've seen that it's a good game. I mean,
Oh yeah.
for its time, it's a good game. But when I was a kid, I was like, I'm going to make a mistake. I'm not playing this game.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah. But yeah. What else? I mean, there's not a lot else we can talk about outside of like um, um, just people and Penguicon. We can't talk about that. We did have the microtransactions panel, and your I'm happy to announce that your mic is working now.
Yes. It took me basically the whole panel to get it going, but I don't think it played too well with the platform that Penguicon set up for us, but we'll know that for next time.
I mean, it was Jitsi, and Jitsi doesn't. It's more indicative of. It's actually more indicative of. We've done video, and I. We've both done video in the past, and I feel more comfortable if like we use something like Zoom, because then people come on and people can comment on it
Mhm.
and give feedback, and Jitsi just doesn't do that. So
Well, Jitsi just didn't work with the browsers that I have loaded on my workstate on my laptop, and I didn't have time to go out and download Chrome, so I had to make do with what I had.
and I had Chrome, and I had more than your panel to work with. And I'd say out of all the I had our panel, which my where my video thing worked, but then the other three kept cutting out. It kept saying weak signal, and um, I would say that a part of it is my internet connection.
Mhm.
It's not a good connection, but it shouldn't be. It should be at least a medium connection on my end, but I don't know. And in terms of service, I wouldn't recommend Jitsi. I barely, what's it called, recommend Zoom, just because it can get a great amount of people on it.
Mhm.
And, yeah. But we had a pretty good panel. We got a few good people on there, and Greg volunteered himself to do. Greg volunteered himself to talk about GameStop and things like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, and it was interesting how he talked about the relevance, quote unquote, of GameStop. But
Like how they're probably. I'll be very surprised if they come out of this on the other side of this pandemic. In all honesty.
I would be a bit surprised, but we do have other retailers. There's, like I've said, places like I can't think of it right now. Within our city, there is Dish Replay. There is places like Best Buy and Target. And
Yeah, I think
to be honest, I would like to. My dream is to see like maybe GameStop merge with someone else, because at this point they really are having a very hard time sustaining themselves.
I mean, they were circling the drain to begin with, and this isn't going to help them at all. Especially with all the bad stories about them that are coming out.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I don't a lot of negative press, but it does seem like the news is focusing more heavily on the bad news instead of things like people with autism being they're being like really helping out, and then just retail workers in general being essential and being the heroes of this country right now. In general, they should be given a round of applause and maybe be respected a little more than they have been.
They need to get a nice vacation when all this is done.
Yeah, that would help because they put in a lot of great work. But yeah, we only have a few more minutes left, so let's end it here.
Sounds good to me.
Phil, where can we find you other than BioShock Infinite?
Well, it's not coming out to the end of the month, so until then, I'll be slogging through Final Fantasy VII Remake and getting to the weird twist ending that I've heard about, seeing if it's as weird as people say.
That is a game I want to see. That's a game I want to see to its entirety, to be honest. I will, of course, be playing more Breath of the Wild and finishing it up probably within the next couple months. And you can find me at einformed.com, informed with an A. And our podcast can be found on SoundCloud. And I guess if you're here, Dave, where can we find these, what's it called? These Zoom meetings. Can we find them on YouTube or?
No, I mean I'm only uploading. I mean, if you want me to upload it, I can. I upload them to the Podcast Detroit YouTube channel.
Okay.
So the ones that want to get uploaded go up there, and yeah.
Okay. But yeah, let's. I mean, for now, let's. I'll just plug SoundCloud for now.
Well, I mean, the audio the audio goes out everywhere. Like I said, I mean, to me, like I keep telling people, is that the like Zoom for me is like the basics. Like Zoom is like getting people in the studio. Like you can see each other's faces and that kind of stuff. And at a minimum, we record audio. That's how that works. And then if you want to do video, hey, yeah, we can record video while you're in the studio too. And oh, by the way, we can also go Facebook Live and whatever else live if you want to as well. So yeah, no, I mean, if like I said, the only reason why I'm recording in here is just to have a backup for the audio, if nothing else, just in case something goes wrong with the audio recording software. Because, well, I believe in contingency planning. So,
Yes. Yes. Back up your backups. Yes. But yeah, you know where you can find me. Find our podcast at on SoundCloud, and as always, stay
DFTBA.
safe. DFTBA. Don't forget to be awesome. And lastly, don't forget to stay home, please.
And wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Brush your teeth. Eat your green vegetables. But
And
yeah.
don't cosplay as Ted Nugent at the state capitol.
I don't get that. I don't get that joke.
I'll play your music out on that one. That was, yeah.
All right. Thank you.